before we continue on. I just opened a window. You almost lost your instructor because I stepped outside for a few minutes, and it is absolutely beautiful out there. So any of you that are have your laptops out in the outside, I am completely jealous. Javier says, "Don't try that." Oh, you're referring back to the hatching. All right. So Javier, you had a question. I see you posted on there that you're still having problems with the PDF. It takes 10 to 20 minutes to complete. James Meeks said, I've crashed my laptop over the use of hatching. Try to keep this simple. Slowing things down. Okay. So on that, now, Javier, this one will not help you too much. I'll come back to your question in a second. But one of the problems when you're working in CAD with a lot of hatching, this doesn't mean if it's a laptop or even some of the high-end gaming computers will have this issue. When you're not working on something on a specific area that has hatching in it and you're not working on it, turn that hatching off. So every time you do a save or something like that, it doesn't have to regenerate the entire drawing. So that might help in when you're actually doing the drawings. That's one. Now, as far as making a PDF, Javier, do you have a Adobe PDF Pro? I'm sorry, the Pro? Okay. So that might, if you've downloaded I don't know what to call it, just a different app for a different PDF writer, that might be one of the problems. Is that? And I'll check again while we're talking. I still haven't heard back from the person that's supposed to be putting this all together. I'm just scanning this real quick and see if anything has come in. Don't see it. So anyway, I'll try to follow up on that today and go from there. But that might be one of the issues. So be patient with it. And the other thing you might try, Javier, is also trying a different app, another free app that might help. James Meek says the program teach people seems to be low staff.
The tech people.
The tech people. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that's the help desk. This is through another office. So I think something got lost in it because it was supposed to go between two offices. And I put the question out there. So when do we hear back and how do we hear back? And the person never got back how to hear back. So I'll try to follow up on that today and see where that. Watch for stuff in your inbox, your TCC inbox. They may be just working on it, but I'll while we're doing this, I will try to type and talk to you guys at the same time, so I don't forget to do this. So those are some suggestions, and let's try to work around that. I'll try to get something back for you by tomorrow. I'm getting ready to email her as soon as we're done in class here. All right, so the next thing I want to go to, I am not going to finish this PowerPoint today. Let me see how many I have left. And yeah, there's about 10, 8, 7, about 7 PowerPoints, but there's quite a bit of information in each one. There's videos in there. It's already posted, so if you want to look ahead on that, it all has to do with irrigation. I'll finish up the PowerPoints tomorrow. This PowerPoint presentation tomorrow. We still have more to go, so we'll see how that works through. But I want to look at right now a couple things. Is first the announcement I sent out. Let me share that with you in case you didn't see that. I sent out 2 announcements. One was for the midterm, just as a reminder. The midterm will be on Monday and the 16th, and we'll do a review on that on the 12th. And then again on the, just a reminder, make sure you're using one of these from each group. You can use more for both projects. Make sure you have at least those. Again, if, for an example, if you're using trees, if you have multiple trees and you're not going to add any trees, obviously you don't want to add any trees, just make a note on there. Not let's say you have 7 trees on there, so you're going to remove 2 of them. You'll make a note removing 2 trees and not adding any additional trees, and that will satisfy the tree portion. So, and that can apply to any one of those sectors that you're looking at. All right, so those announcements went out, and then we had, I think I have it pulled up. Let's see. Packet 4, what's ahead? So let's see if that will, I haven't tested this one. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick video for a couple of assignments. I wanted to give you a little bit of detail here. Apologize.
Can't hear you.
All right, just want to give you a quick video on what's ahead this week after 4, and just a couple of assignments, and I wanted to give you in a little bit of detail here. Apologize for not getting this out on Monday or Sunday, early Sunday morning. I thought I did, but obviously I didn't. So here we go on package number 4. Here we have for assignment 1 the sprinkler or the irrigation plan. And I did attach an example of that and also in the PowerPoint. So let me take a look at first the PowerPoint here that we have. And hopefully you can see that. So this is on slide number 2 in the landscape irrigation for this week. The presentation in slide number 2 shows you the basic layouts and what you're going to be showing on the irrigation plan. So things we discussed yesterday, make sure you have the water meter located, the main line to the house, just approximate. You can tell where that comes in at usually. There is a shut-off valve of some type, either below ground or above ground. And then you'll have the ICVs, irrigation control valves. You'll have the main feed lines, which are indicated here in green, and then the lateral lines that are leading to the heads, and then spray pattern. Also, you'll include a timer that typically is located near the electrical box, electrical outlet. And that can be interior in the garage, or it can be exterior as well, depending on the source. So make sure you include those items, the spray pattern, make sure there's no open areas, make sure you have adequate coverage. So that's what you'll be showing on assignment number 1. And let's take a look at that. In CAD, the irrigation plan for your front yard, submit on a D sheet, PDF, and a DWG, and the examples. And I have another example from a student. Let me pull that up right now. I think that's the one here, I believe. Yes. This one here is the irrigation layout. Now, the good thing on this, he's done a really nice job of including his colors and the plants and things like that, and the amenities. And this was actually a project on PCC South Campus that we did. On here, he does not have adequate coverage. You can see he doesn't have the spray pattern that's overlapping. So just be careful. In this area here, he does, but in a lot of areas, he doesn't have overlapping areas for coverage. Here he has a spray pattern ahead in the middle of the planter area. I'm not sure if it's a planter or a tree, but be careful that you're running appropriate system to the appropriate areas. Here he has a drip line. All these areas will have to be covered in your plan. Make sure you have overlapping coverage on that. All right, going back to this. So you'll have your designated pipe size. Usually the 3/4 is the main supply line leading into a 1/2 inch on the lateral. Total length of each pipe size, total length, so you have to calculate the length, so you're going to need a total cost on this eventually. Drip line lengths, type of heads, drip heads, number of drip heads, cost for each item, each line item, and the irrigation material cost for your front yard project. Okay, so this is on a table on here. This plan will include a table on it. It's on the D sheet. There's plenty of room on that as well. All right, so there's your irrigation plan for that's assignment 1. Assignment 2, let me back up, make sure that you're preparing for the midterm and read chapter 5 of your textbook, and we'll be extracting some information out of that for blocks and such. All right, so assignment number 2, make a block for each type of plant for your front yard project. See chapter 5 again. This is for the blocks, for examples of the blocks. So you're going to make sure you have a minimum in your yard, one of each one of these. Now, if you already have existing trees, for example, just make a notation: no additional trees, existing trees to stay, and you can make a note either in the title block or directly on the drawing itself, pointing to the trees or pointing to one of the trees and calling out how many you have. But anything that either you need to put in place will be called out, and make a block of that. And then what you're going to do is make a block in AutoCAD. Again, go ahead and use the table. And I believe there were, let me go back to this real quick. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different categories. And so we'll need a column for each one of those. And if you go to your AutoCAD, again, tables, selecting tables, and the columns we just counted were 7. We'll put 7 in there. And how many rows you want, that you'll have to calculate yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and put 8 in here for right now for the example, and hit OK. And here we have our table, and again, it'll have to be scaled up quite a bit. And this is not for irrigation, I'm sorry, this is for the plant. And selecting out of that, and then we can zoom in on this, and we can go ahead and scale it. But here you have the title of it. That's where it defaults to, of course, in tables, and you guys already know that. And it works much like Excel, like you learned in your basic classes. So just clicking in, double-clicking in the cells, and you can start typing and manipulate this, the columns and rows from here as well. So that table will be required in assignment number 2 with this information. So there's only 2 assignments for the week. Hopefully that gave you a good recap of for the week and what is going on ahead of you. And Wednesday and Thursday are no assignments, so you'll be working on preparing for the midterm, working on these projects, and then of course the Rotunda project. You want to keep working on that and doing research and moving ahead on the 6 sheets that will be required for the final project submission. It's on the 16th, if I remember right, of December. All right, that should do it. And as always, any questions, go ahead and email or go ahead and post them in the day's lecture. All right, thanks. Talk to you soon. All right, so we're back on that, and that is going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to put it out for any questions right now. and see what's going on. We will finish that second part of the first PowerPoint, which will be the second part that we'll do on day number 3, which will be Wednesday tomorrow. We'll finish that up and not going through the videos that are attached to that or any information that is attached to that. I'll leave that up to you, and we'll move ahead. So you have this week's assignment. You have the information that you just viewed, both the announcement and the video that I just showed you is already posted. It is in lessons, and I will share that just so you know it's there. I'm not lying to you. Right there, and then backup 4, and it is posted here in that. All right. So that will conclude today. So it gives you about an hour of drawing time in lab. I will be here till 3:15, and just kind of looking, see if there are any questions as we finish out today with an hour left in lab time. Any questions out there? Iman, go ahead.
I have a question for assignment, like I think 3 for irrigation assignment.
Okay, there's only 2 assignments, so one or 2.
For do we have to do like all call out all trees and grasses and amenities, all this in one drawing, or just the irrigation?
Just the irrigation. So if we look at slide number 2 on here, this is the type of plan that you're going to have. No plants. This is just irrigation. Of course, you have to have the beds, the planter beds. You'll have to have those drawn in, but no actual plants, no trees. But you'll have to have the specific type of heads and watering system.
And outline the trees or not?
No, you won't outline the trees. But if you have a special, if you have a separate line that's going to do deep root watering on your irrigation, you'll have to call that out. That would be a separate zone. So let's say you had 3 trees and you're going to have deep root watering on all 3 trees. And you'll have a separate zone. And so right here are the different ICBs, which represent the different zones. And so within that, you'll have a separate zone, and then it will come out with a pipe, and then you'll have a line going over to the location of the trees. And you can just put a center mark for the trees if you want to pinpoint that. And then you would have a note that's deep root watering on zone number 4, for example.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Kings Meek, are we allowed to install drains in the final project for the flooding problem? Absolutely. That will be called out on your site plan. Yes, James. So good question on that. So drainage has to do with site plans. So the site plans will have showing the drainage. The one you turned in showed the existing drainage or problems. And then you can add in area drains, show the piping and how the water is transferred to off-site, to the street, or to your neighbor's yard. Just kidding. And you'll show that on the site plan for drainage. All right. Anything else?
Wait, so you said what we're be planning to install would be ended up on the site plan?
As far
Or
as
just at the... Yes.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
That's on the site plan coming up, James, not on the previous. What the previous site plan was just what's existing, any drainage.
Oh, so that was the existing site plan. You're talking about the next site plan we're doing.
Right. So that all this information, and thanks for bringing that up. You brought up a subtopic. Um, all this information, all these sheets that you're developing in your front yard landscape will end up being a final drawing for a sheet set for your front yard. So with that, and the reason we're going through this exercise, you have to record what's there so you know what to improve or change. You have to record what plants are there so you know what to either take out or put in. You have to know what hardscapes there, et cetera, et cetera. So this is basically these sheets that you're actually developing in a series. So it's not like you turn in the sprinkler. Maybe the sprinkler is a bad one. Maybe you turn in the sprinkler for this exercise, and then all of a sudden some of your planners change on your very final one. So you would adjust your sprinkler plan according to your planting plan. So it's evolution. I do it right, James?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, Brittany says, is the site plan for the Rotunda final project the existing site plan or the proposed site plan? Right now, I think right now, did I call for, I haven't called to turn that in. So right now, you would just have what is existing for the site plan right now.
Yeah, that's the existing site plan for what we talked about yesterday.
Yes, the existing for the Rotunda. So with that said, okay, and Brittany says thumbs up on that. Thank you. With that said, is if I can get more information. Now we did talk about drainage in there, and I don't think. Let me see if I still have that pulled up. Yes, I do. Okay. Some good questions here. Just let me point something out to you real quick. It takes a second for me to share the screen, but stay with me. All right, so for the drainage, what's existing right now, we had talked about this, and I didn't put any notes anywhere, but right up here is a main, what I call main drain gathering area. So all the water from in this area and north up in here comes down, and from the east and from the west comes down into this area. All right, supposedly. So the drainage problems for our site right now are here. So you could, for right now, for existing, you could put on there some arrows showing that the water drains, is supposed to drain this way. From this whole area here, it's supposed to drain, or more like from right here, it's supposed to drain this way. Everything else was draining back towards the building. All the way around. So that's an issue. I'll tell you that right now. You can add that to there, that all this drainage was either flat and not draining or draining back towards the building, except for this area was supposed to drain back here. It is not. When we get heavy rains there in South Campus, this area here floods heavily. And then there's another sidewalk to the north right up in here. This sidewalk right here, you can just see the edge of it, leads up here. And this area floods. And they actually have some area drains and such in here that's supposed to feed back in here, and it's just not working well. So they have multiple areas in the campus that floods, and they're trying to address that. But for our project, existing for right now, and then this would definitely be a threat when you do SWOT analysis, is the flooding on the north side of the project. Everywhere else pretty much drains back, and they do have drain areas back towards, or they had drain areas back around the building. So my thought is, and I don't know if they did this, they would have built this area up a little bit to drain away or back to the collectors. They have small collectors along the sidewalks. And I just happen to know on this side of the sidewalk and this side of that sidewalk, there are small collectors. There may be some other ones around our sidewalk area that I'm not aware of. That's one of the handicaps that we have and not knowing all the information. But we'll do the best we can, right? I'm not going to mark down for something that I don't know, you don't know, and we can't get on there. So back to Brittany's question. Yes, existing for right now, drain problem here, and the water is supposed to, you can make a note on that. You're going to have arrows showing the way the water is supposed to drain off, accumulating in heavy downpours, and the rest of the project will drain back towards this area. That's all we know right now. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful. I'll come to the chat box in a second here and let me get caught up. So James Meek says the drainage issue has been bothering him. So James Meek, so are you talking about on your front yard project?
No, on the final one, I even have bounced it off my dad on like what exactly could be happening there. He says they might have graded it correctly back in the day. He says, but their grading has the grading has changed or is not correct. And so he said, if it's not on our side of the circle in our work area, he said, unless it's a major threat, leave it alone. I said, well, it's a major threat because it floods inside of our circle. And he said, well, then you're going to have to add some grading.
Yes, so he's absolutely right, and that is a threat. And remember our philosophy on gathering information outside of our study. So that's basically what we're doing in this area here.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, here's what happened. I'm theory on this. They did design this, when they designed this building, to drain away from the building. That makes sense. One of the issues, they probably didn't have a lot of drop because they wanted to keep some contour somewhat level. And just as the natural contour of this whole entire campus, there's not a lot of drop in different areas. With that said, if they planned it correctly, they would have raised that building or had it in a higher elevation slightly to carry away into the grass areas, which is really an ideal way to drain water. When you get concrete or a large parking area, your water volume increases immensely. That's the same way with roofs. So with
one of his recent projects, they messed up on something like that, and they had to build like a little mound so it would redirect the water around the building.
Right. And that's practical in some areas, and depending what they're using for mounding because of erosion and stuff. But what had happened here, just a little history, the reason this building got knocked down was because of foundation issues. And the reason the foundation was getting threatened because there was underground streams. So it was naturally settling. It didn't have a bedrock, evidently, or the streams evolved over time. So now we had a lower area all the way around the perimeter of this building. So now we have a natural drain almost back into the building, what was happening. So a lot of issues. So yeah, some good points, James. Iman says, so for assignment 2, just a label. Not sure what you meaning by that, Iman. So if I go back to assignment 2, let me get rid of this. Assignment 2. Oh, okay, I'll label it. So you're going to make a block for each plant, and that block will go inside the table. And then inside that table, you're going to have a row, that has the plant picture, and then you're going to have what the CAD block is of that plant, and then the plant name, and then you're going to have a row column, another column that will say shade or sun, another column within that row that says the size. So you're buying 5-gallon, 10-gallon size plant, the quantity, the number that you want on site, and then the total cost of that row. So each plant will have a picture, an actual picture. You can import it as a JPEG. Here we go with that again. See how that works. A plant block, that's for your CAD use, and then a plant name, and just the common name. Don't use the botanical, the Latin name. And does it take shade or sun? Partial shade, partial sun, full shade. The size, again, the gallon. The quantity, you're going to have 1, 2, 5, 10, and the total cost, not per plant, but for that entire row of plants and quantity of that. Iman, did I answer your question? That's all on the table.
Yeah. Okay. We can edit last assignment on packet 2.
Last assignment on packet 2. Okay. On packet 2, wow, we'll go back there. Okay, let me look at that. Don't have it memorized. Well, that's site analysis. That's, I'm trying to see how you're relating that. This is totally something different. That has nothing to do with packet 2. So for your front yard, you're gonna now you should have already been picking out the plants, right? That's going to go in your front yard. So you're going to list those plants that are going in there, and then this is the way you're going to list them and show them. That's for assignment 2 in packet 4. So did I answer?
No, packet 2, assignment 3, not assignment 4. Yeah.
2
Plant material selection. Plant material selection.
Yes. Yes. Those two do. They do relate. Yes. So you could use that same table and modify it. Yes. Does that help? Okay. Thanks. Thumbs up. All right. Cool. All right. So yes, you're correct on that. You could use that same table and modify it because you're going to, have additional information that's called out right down here. All right. Good question. Anything else? Harry, go ahead.
On assignment 2, the table, is it supposed to look like Eric M's?
No, don't. Just go off this information. I mean, the table should start out looking like I showed you in CAD.
Okay, so it's just a table.
It's just the table, yes.
When it says plant picture, you just want what?
Yeah, just Google the plant. So if I was going to do a Oklahoma redbud tree, I would Google it. I'd look or Google images of redbud trees, and then I would see a picture of it. I would copy it and then paste it into as a JPEG, paste it into my table.
Okay.
That's a plant picture. And then you would create a block, a unique block for that Oklahoma redbud that would go next to the picture. And you would call out the name of it. And then you would have another column that would for sun or shade, and another column for size, another column for quantity, and then total cost for the Oklahoma redbud.
You do that for each picture
For each plant.
or each plant. Yeah, each picture.
Yeah, each picture plant. Yeah.
And okay.
That's all in the table. It will fit in the table. If the picture does not fit in the table, if you can't get it the size right, you can put it next to the table there. It should fit in. If you size the cells correctly, it should go in there, and you can scale it down, obviously. So,
Okay.
that can be done.
I think
What's that?
We'll see when I give it to you.
Okay.
All right.
Give it your best shot. That's all I ask. All right. I can hear the wheels turning and the smoke going. Yaman says we can draw existing plant also for assignment 2. Yes. The only criteria, Yaman, is to make sure you hit at least all these areas here listed in assignment 2 and also sent out in, oops, I guess that's a duplicate, also sent out in announcements yesterday. Make sure that you have the following categories: trees, shrubs, plants, ground cover, and lawn turf. So you can use existing, which you already have, and call it out. Or if you, and then you still need to list it on your plant list, but you don't have to add it as something new, but it will still meet the criteria here. So like if you already have a tree or 3 trees, you're not going to add any. You still want a picture of that tree in your plant list. That plant list is everything you're going to use on your final front yard landscape plan. All the plants. I do all right, Iman, on that? For cost, you'll have to Google it or go by your nursery if you want to get outside a little bit and walk through a nursery. Oh, for cost for if you're already existing, yes. Yes, good point. So cost will be 0 because it's existing. Yes. Did I do all right, Iman? Okay. Okay, cool. Good point. Larry, go ahead.
I already have trees and shrubs and ground cover.
Okay.
So just, yeah, he kind of answered my question. Cost is 0 and
Yep. Still get a
But it-
picture. Still ID the plant. Still make a block of it. Still find out if it's sun or shade. All that, and the cost will be 0. Yes.
okay.
Cool. All right. I'm waiting. I can hear the wheels just turning and cranking. I can hear the mice going. You're clicking on AutoCAD. You're working hard. Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay. Thanks, Larry. Everybody else, I will be here. James, again, go ahead. Can't hear you, James. You might have your mic off.
How about now?
Yeah, speak up a little bit. I can barely hear you. I got my volume almost all the way up. Go ahead.
So, let me turn it up a little bit. On your announcements, you have the site plan and site amenities as one thing. So, my question is on the site plan and amenities, should that be on one D sheet when it comes to creating the file?
We're talking about the final project on announcements.
Talking about the final not the final, the front yard project. So we're gonna have,
But before you go on, where are you looking so I can get? You said announcements, so I'm trying to.
yeah, the announcements is talking about the rotunda.
But you said on announcements, so I'm trying to catch up to where you're at.
Okay. You, yeah, on the announcements, you're talking about the final project. You have the list of the 6 sheets and the dates that you're doing these, or that we should have these.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually trying to set up the drawing file. Remember we talked yesterday about I was going to just set up the file with the 6 D sheets in there, and I was going to name them. So what I was doing was we need to have 6 D sheets also for the front yard. Am I correct on that?
Yes. Yes, you are correct.
Okay. So what I did is I created the cover sheet, site plan and amenities sheet, landscape plan, irrigation plan, detail sheet, and then table sheet. I was just asking if tab 2 should say site plan and amenities, and what should that really be showing?
Okay, so sheet 2 will be site plan and site analysis, not amenities.
Or I'm sorry, site analysis.
Right.
Okay. It's okay, I read that wrong.
No problem. I do that all the time, and you guys are probably wondering where I got my education at, right? I even
So,
spelled wrong. I spell grow instead of ground, so I'm doing good.
correct. No,
So
you're
yeah,
good.
so on site plans, you're going to have your what the ground is now, analyzing it, and water flow. You're going to have the site analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths. You're going to have the vicinity map, and we can talk more in detail at that point when we get ready for submission. But you already are developed the site plan, so you're heading the right direction already. So that answers on number 2. Now you brought up site amenities. Let me address that for a second. And that will go, the amenities will go on your landscape plan.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So, on on one of mine, you said, "Where's the site amenities?" And I actually pointed them out, like porch with chairs, that stairs up to the house. Um, and you said those were amenities, so I was labeling those as amenities.
Okay. Did I take off for that?
No, you asked me where they were. I guess I didn't put enough detail on them. So um, let me check the email.
And so while you're checking that, James, and that's a good statement, make sure you guys, this is for everybody, make sure you detail your notes. Don't just put tree. You know, what kind of tree is it? Is it to be removed? Is it supposed to be stayed? Driveway, okay? Is it concrete? Is it gravel? Um, you know, get some details in your notes. Look at it from a point that you're doing this project for somebody who may have never even seen the site. So you can't get too much information, I guess is my point. You have to organize it so it's not cluttered, but you need to get more detail. And this is for everyone, not just you, James, or anybody particular, but I just see this in general. We need to get a little more detail in our notes. So James, go ahead if you had additional question on that.
So yeah, so my first question is on tab 2, which is a site plan and site analysis. What what specific assignment was this one? Was this part of packet 2 or was this packet 3?
Well, we have not done a submission for the rotunda on site plan.
Oh, I'm speaking about the front yard.
Oh, well, that goes back to yesterday, the confusion. It was, uh,
Yeah, because it's proposed. And
yeah,
when
we
I
talked
look
about
at
it yesterday,
the
right?
reason I'm saying that is because when I look at the example that you sent us, Eric's final, it shows in there on his certain tabs. It shows his resident existing, and then the resident later it shows a tab of resident proposed.
Well, remember, I'm just showing you examples of the drawings, not the way they're set up. That was a totally different project. So the examples are called out on the assignments. You know, look at it for the example for like this week was the irrigation. Just look at the example of the irrigation. It wasn't anything to do with the plants or the people he put in there. It's just the irrigation layout. So you're looking a little far into it. So let me go back to what we talked about yesterday, because I think it's a good point on my, that was packet 3, I believe. Yeah. So packet 3, and yeah, packet 3, assignment 3, lab 3, assignment 3 says, design your proposed landscape site plan for your front yard project. So yesterday's conversation, this is for everybody who's still here in class and for the recording as well. What James and I discussed yesterday is my misverbiage. Design your proposed landscape. So immediately when you think that, you're thinking the plants. Well, it should have been just site plan. All right, the site plan. So that was my error in putting the landscape in there. It should have just been site plan. So what you turned in, James, to answer your question on assignment 3 was the site plan, and there were the details that followed that were to be included in the site plan.
Okay, and on this particular site plan, is it what's existing?
Now, which one are you talking? You're talking about assignment 3?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So on packet 3, lab 3, assignment 3, it was what's existing.
Right. And then
So
you're going
we
to
don't.
add. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So if I go back to the front yard project drawing, tab 1 would be the cover sheet, tab 2 would be site plan and site analysis, and tab 3 is the landscape plan, which would be packet 3, lab 3, assignment 3, that specific one. I'm just trying to organize the drawing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can use the same sheet order information that goes into the rotunda. I was just at. I'm trying to remember where is that announcement.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
And
Use that same format. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So site plan and site analysis, that should be the one that just shows the existing um front yard, and then you're calling out. Oh wait, no, that doesn't include the site amenities, does it?
No, that's on sheet 3.
So sheet 3 should have site amenities.
Yes.
And then sheet 4 is the irrigation plan, which will be us installing a water system to our front yard. What it
Correct.
should be.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So the landscape plan will have the vicinity map and those things.
No. It doesn't say vicinity map. The site plan will have the vicinity map,
Site plan has the vicinity map.
just as it's listed here. Yeah. Javier, I'll come to you in just a second here.
Site plan has the vicinity map. Okay, because it shows on Lab 3 Assignment 3 vicinity map in the second viewport. So this landscape site plan, this is not tab 3, is this tab 2?
Okay. You going back to the assignments now again?
Yeah, because you said on the tab 2, I'm like I said, I'm just trying to organize the drawing so I can move forward.
Well, let's do this. I think this will be a lot easier. If you just stick with, forget 3, packet 3, we're behind, we're done, all right? You can use any of that information, obviously. But if we look at the organization of, and this is going to apply for the front yard and for the rotunda, this will be the organization that you put it in. The details that go into each sheet, some of the information is given here, and we're covering additional information in each class that go on the sheet. So we've talked a little bit about the cover sheet being a 2-point perspective with the index. But the fundamentals and maybe how to do it, we've talked a little bit about that. But that's basically what's going to go in the cover sheet. Again, the wow factor, etc. As we go through the class, we are covering each one of these sheets. Now, we just launched into the irrigation. We haven't even touched on the detail sheet or the table sheet that's going to have plant materials, etc. So don't look back on past assignments, but you can use the information from past assignments to facilitate this setup right here.
Okay. Am I gonna have to turn in the front yard project as one assignment with these 6 tabs?
Yes, that will eventually be a complete packet that you'll be turning in.
Okay. So my question is can I send this packet to you beforehand so you can verify that these tabs are correct?
You can, but I'm just saying, just use this right here. That's why I put it out there. Just use those. You just call the tabs that. Call it cover sheet, site plan, etc. And that will
Correct.
be.
I just want to make sure the D sheet is zoomed in on the correct model in a model space.
Okay, yeah, you can send it to me.
Okay. All right, that's all. I just
right.
want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Anything else? James, did you go? I didn't know if you had anything else after that.
I just commented on that. That's all.
Oh no, the other James.
Oh, the other James.
Yeah, sorry, James. James McGinn. Did you have anything else after that? I wasn't sure if I finished with you. Maybe I did.
I'm good.
Okay. All right.
I'll just send it to you. I'm gonna organize it and include the irrigation and the plant list, the pictures.
Yep. All right. Yeah, send it to me. I will review it and let you know.
Okay.
And anybody else that wants a review of anything, let me know. And then Javier, I think you've been holding your hand up for a long time. It must be tired. So what do you have, Javier?
Professor, I have I did everything as instructed with the help of James and all. I removed all the hatching, including unnecessary color, and didn't make a difference, so I had to remove all the colors. I had to remove all the colors, and it's still have the same problem. It takes at least right now it took at least 4 minutes to make like a PDF now. But with no color, no gradient, no hatching. It takes 4 minutes, and every time you make a PDF, no line is shown, just the notes.
Well, the only thing I can suggest is that you may have a bug in the file. So you may have to, and I put this in the email, you may have to copy what you have into a brand new file. Or the worst case scenario, you may just do some general drawing in a brand new file and then make, just do a few things, maybe a couple of trees, a little bit of hatching, just something really quick, and PDF that from the new file and see if you have the same problem. So if you have the same problem, it must be the PDF writer that you're using. You might check with the other classmates and see what they're using. If they don't have Acrobat Pro, I know some of them don't, find out what they're using because I think it's something in the conversion that's happening. I don't think unless there's a bug in the file, I don't think it's AutoCAD. I don't think it's your drawing. I think it's the converter that you're using.
Mm. I wanted to make it as best as possible because I can show you any detail on that now. Just keep getting the same pattern every day.
You try a brand new file.
Hey, it's a brand new file, by the way. Yeah, I copy and paste to a new file, and I call it test and error to see if it makes see if it make a difference.
Okay, so it may be something else. As like I said, I'm not having that problem on this end, and I have a lot of hatching that I've done on some projects. I'm really trying to work through this, and I can't think of anything else that it might be. If you have to turn, like I said, I would open a new file and just make some drawings, just some lines and a little bit of hatching, some blocks, and then see, and just something really simple, and see if you can PDF that, and if that will PDF any quicker than your landscape project. Test that out and see if that works, and then let me know on that.
I'll check on that.
Okay.
I'll be back.
All right, thanks. And James Meek, you had a comment, or let's see, I spent all day yesterday afternoon getting this straight. Felt so dumb. What was that, James, that you were working on? James Meek.
It was just getting everything set up so that it would be smoother in the end. It was just it wasn't a headache. It was just tedious because it would have been so much easier if we had asked the right questions and gotten this understood on how to set it up efficiently.
Okay, so when you talk about setting up, you're talking about the sheet set?
Yeah, and just like how you recommended us doing the drawings instead of like making a copy of each one. And
Okay.
so I spent all day kind of rectifying that yesterday, and it's good now, but I wish I'd asked clarification questions back in week 1.
Yeah, okay, well, good point. So anybody, that's having, if you're struggling with something that you see is taking a lot of time, like you said, James, you spent all day on that. Throw the question here. I mean, like Javier's having that problem. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm not sure what else to suggest.
Yeah, I would have to see his screen to kind of know what was going on.
Yeah, but I'm just saying general problems like that seem to be taking a lot of time to work out. We can hash them out in class. And I know there are some people that are experienced that are in class that have industry. Oh, great. Just went away, my whole screen. Have industry experience. Am I still there, James?
Yeah, you're still here. I just can't see anything. Oh, there it comes right.
Okay. There's a lot of people that have industry experience. So
my problem is just I had to go through all my old files and make them more streamlined so that the final end products would be easier to do. That's
right,
all.
and that's why I suggested just use a base drawing and layers, and that way you can just copy whatever you need and create these additional sheet sets is the easiest way to go. Okay. Super. Thanks, James. Larry.
On packet 4, lab 1, assignment 1, we turn in a drawing file and a PDF, correct?
I'm sorry. I apologize. So we're talking about the assignments. We'll go to lessons and to this week. So which one were you talking about again?
Well, I'm talking about both of them. The first one, lab 1, assignment 1, that's a drawing file and a PDF.
Yes.
Turn in.
Yes.
Lab 2, the same thing.
So since they're both of your front yard, All right.
Yeah.
You can turn in one. You should be able to turn in one DWG for both of those assignments and one PDF for both of those. The PDF will have assignment 1 and assignment 2 in it. That makes sense?
Yeah, and the drawing file will have assignment 1 and 2 as well.
Yes, the one DWG will have both of those in there because you should be doing everything from one drawing file.
Okay.
So even so I looked at it twice, this should just be one. It's just a reminder to make sure you PDF it all together. I guess I should put in there. I don't even know how to word that. Maybe I
Well,
need another. Go ahead.
I draw, let's say packet 4. I was going to draw, what I'm supposed to draw. And then I don't create another file for assignment 2 and draw from it.
Nope, because and let me, I think I made a video on this as well, but maybe not as detailed. Let me show you here real
Yeah, I've seen that video a lot.
quick. Okay, let me maybe add some clarification to it here. I'll get there eventually. If I push enough buttons, I'll get there. All right, so you should be able to see AutoCAD. So this is not, but let's just say this is my backyard project for sake of argument.
Okay.
So I brought the map in. I've done a site plan. I've done a SWOT analysis on it. I've done everything here. I made a table for plants. I made an irrigation plan. I've done it all right here. So now the assignment calls, one of the assignments for packet 4, it calls for irrigation plan on a D sheet. So I delete all these sheets.
Mm-hmm.
This should be saved as, no, it already is saved different. So if I open my master title block, save it as front yard project, and then I do all that stuff in there. Then that assignment calls for, the first assignment calls for a D sheet for the front yard. So I would eliminate 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, and C. I would delete those sheets. I would make another D sheet. And now I can make for assignment 1, it will call for the irrigation plan. And so there will be I zoom in and get my irrigation plan. In my second sheet, I'm just going to do it right here. I'm going to make a copy of my first sheet, which is a D sheet. And now my second sheet, which is right down here, I rename, the first one I'll name irrigation plan. And the second one I'm going to name plant list. That's all done here. Everything.
Okay.
Everything is done here.
That may be part of my problem. If I do a drawing, I do a new file.
Right. There you go. So that's what that video was supposed to show. Maybe didn't do a good job. I didn't do a good job of it, but.
Well, I'm kind of dumb too. So.
No, Larry. Sometimes it's my communication skills. I'll take the hit on it. So when you get a new assignment, this goes usually for industry as well. You'll make a brand new file, or they'll send you a brand new file. It's going to have the customer's name, project number, whatever in the file. You're going to use that file for everything associated with that project. And then you can make any sheet size or any number of sheets from that one file.
And that one file will have all kinds of drawings in the model space.
All kinds of drawings in model space for that one project. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And so if you still can get caught up on that, you can make one file for it and copy everything in, turn all the layers on, copy everything in, and then okay, we're going to do a site plan now. So you can select turn everything on that you need for the site plan, and then copy that within the file, and then paste it within the file, and now you have a separate area to work on just the site plan. But you always have that base that you can make a copy of inside that file. You're not taking it anywhere, you're just pasting it inside that file and using it for that specific, excuse me, for that specific assignment.
Okay.
Is that
All right,
helpful?
well, I think so.
Okay. Give it a
We'll
try.
see what I turn in this week.
Well, you did good last week, so
I
you're
keep
doing good.
messing it up and I keep getting points counted off. But yeah, okay.
You're zeroing in on it. You're getting it. So hang in there, Larry. Doing a good
All right.
job.
Thank you.
Yeah, the growth pains for this class are painful because of COVID. You hardly had any time to set up for the format for online. I feel bad for you because it's not all like your fault and our fault. It's a whole mixture of like just pain.
Well, it goes back to it goes back to me not having, I'm just exposing myself here, right? And it's still recording, so that's just great. It goes back to me not having enough online experience, because if you ask James McGinn about 1409, he was about ready to pull me through this little box and choke me to death because of the delivery of the class was so much stuff, but it wasn't delivered clearly because I'm not used to, teaching through a box. So I've refined it from then through summer to now, or the first 8 weeks, now the second 8 weeks. So it's getting better, but it's still not 100%. So it's like trying to capture, I have 18 students that are like, have soap on them. And I'm trying to capture them in this little chain link fence that has holes in it. And I'm trying to figure out every hole. And every time I teach it, I'm plugging up one of those holes, but I still have 3,000 more holes to plug up. So it is a challenge. So I appreciate your understanding from your side, James, completely. So
Yeah, you're a lot better than some of the other. You're way farther ahead than some of the other professors are. The poor civil instructor, we only communicated through emails.
yeah. Well, and I'm even going to take the hit for that because they should have, and I maybe miscommunicated, they should have set up the same format I have here, where we meet at a certain time, record it, have an open mic for lab, and that format should follow through with every class. So my instructors for the next spring, I'm going to make sure they're on that format. So we're getting better. It's taking time. So James, thanks for those comments. I'm going to move on. James McGinn, hold on a second, as Iman has a question here. Can I draw all the tables on the layout, not in model space? Put all the tables in model space, Iman, if you're still there. Hopefully you're still listening. Put all the tables in model. Everything is done in model space, and then make a viewport in paper space. Or layout space, and zero in on them and scale them appropriately. Imana, hopefully you're, let me see. Okay, all right, she is here and I answer that. James McGinn, I see a comment, you laughed and then we worked through it. Yeah, that was the 1409 class. I enjoyed taking it with you about each. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you have good humor, James McGinn, so I appreciate that. James, go ahead. You had your hand up also. Do you have another question?
Yes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to redo the drawing on where I made it a proposed plan where I said it was a new oak tree and I replaced the bushes with foliage bushes and extended the fence, making it a new fence and making an automatic gate and all that. Uh, so I'm gonna get rid of all those and I'm gonna change the things to different layers. My question was, you said on the email, you said it was a good start for assignment number 2. You said all my text is too large. Dimension height is a good size. Arrowheads need to be larger. You said that actually on both of the assignments. So I'm actually I'm trying to fix that right now. And it looks like I don't actually. I'm not sure what I actually used on there. I'm trying to figure out the arrowhead. It says closed field arrowhead. So what? How big do you want the arrowhead to be? You want me just to make some edits, and then when I send it to you, you'll let me know if that's okay or not?
Okay, so that was a question on arrowheads. Then okay, so let me come back to that question on arrowheads because what I put I can now see after you read it there might be a little confusion. Let me come back to that.
Well, my
Let me go
question
back.
was, my question is, if I put all those on a specific layer, can I make that edit at one time? Like one edit and it change all of them, or do I need to go change each one of them? That
Okay,
was
to
the
answer that question, you should be able to go through your dem styles and change it all at one time. But
I
let me come
tried
back.
that, and it didn't work.
Okay, let me come back to that. First, don't delete anything that you've drawn. You said you were going to get rid of some stuff, and I don't know if you meant just turn it off or what, but never delete anything. You have some good drawings there. So don't ever delete and change things because you can use that information for other projects. So with that said, I'm going to move ahead with other things that you commented on, but don't delete anything. If you have to modify a drawing totally different, make a copy of that in the same file and paste it over to the side and then modify that copy. Because you never know when you need that information that you spent time on. Don't ever delete it. And you may never need it. You might just shove it off to the side somewhere. Maybe you'll never need it, but don't ever delete it. That goes for everybody. Don't delete anything unless it's totally irrelevant to the project. So you have a huge amount of space and model space. So you can just keep pushing things to the side. You got lots of room. So don't ever delete anything. James, let me go back to my comments that I made on your emails. When I said the arrowhead size needed to be bigger, I put that comment right after I commented on the dimensions. So I messed up on that. The reason I messed up is the arrowheads are pertaining to your notes on the leader lines, not your dimension lines. Your dimension height, the height of your dimensions were good, and the arrowheads on your dimension lines were good. So all that was fine. All you have to do
Okay.
is find out what height your text was on your dimensions. Your arrowhead size should be about the same as we know on your dimension. And then apply that to your note. Now, with that said, yes, what you'll do is you will change one note, change the text height. I think I broke my finger. I just realized. Anyway, change your text height on your note and change your arrowhead size on your note to match what your dimensions are. And then after you make that one change on one note, then you can use the match properties for all your other notes. Did that help?
Yes, I believe I know what you're talking about. So I need to just change one, and then I can say I can match it to the other ones.
Yes, use match property command icon, and then you can match it to all the other ones. You cannot change that through a dem style. It just, for some reason, doesn't want to cooperate. So the best way is to match properties on that. That's the
Yeah,
fast.
Yeah, on that, you can sometimes change it to a dim style, but he's right. It will not like correct everything.
Them styles will on your dimensions, but they will not work on leader lines and notes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, back
There's
to
a leader line. There's a leader line manager. You can work on that. I just
Yeah.
actually finished editing on that.
yeah, but that edits one, I believe, and I don't think it does every single one in there. So that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, James, James McGinn, that's James Meek. Thanks for that comment. And James McGinn, does that help you?
I believe so. So, let's see. I changed one of them.
Well, go ahead and do that because I have a couple people waiting, and we're just about done with class. So go ahead and do that. And then if you have another question, raise your hand again. I'm going to go to Javier right now. If you will go ahead and.
Okay, so I'll finish it and I'll just send it to you, and you could just let me know if
Well, that's the other
file's up
comment
to
too,
date.
James. I was going to make. You were saying send it to me after you make the changes. One of the interim steps for everybody, and I talked about this yesterday, is do your changes, open up paper space, scale it, get it positioned, and then you look at it. What's the first thing you see? It should go through your eyes. If I tell you to change things, and you just keep changing it, you're not going to get used to looking at your own drawings. So look at your own drawings first. I have no problem with you sending it to me, but I wanted to go through that 3-step or 2-step process first. Do the changes, look at it in model space, over to paper space, scale it, and then you look at it again. And as you know, when you print it out, it always looks different. But at least look at it on the on AutoCAD and paper space, and then make the changes there based on what you see, and then send it on to me. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right, Javier, go ahead.
Professor, and I did there was instructed, so I created 2 new files, one to test to see if the hatching works or the color working, and it worked. Now I made a new file for the assignment for the Hacker 3 assignment, the last one, and still not showing line, not showing
Okay.
line.
So I don't know where to go from there. I really don't. The line, you said the lines aren't showing.
The line not showing, and I had to move all the colors. I thought it would be delayed over hatching. I thought it'd be a delay, but no. I did it again, and let's see if I can find the file again. Just let me check again. A second. The line, the line not showing. Just I'm seeing only all the notes and the detail, like dimension. I'm seeing the dimension, but no lines of the dimension, no lines of the house, not even the trees now.
Okay. So let me ask you that. The lines that are not showing, are they in the hatch area?
No. I move all the hatching. I move all the hatches. There's no hatching there. They just. I just make sure everything's lined. Everything's aligned.
All right. I tell you what, send me that file. I'll take a look at it because there's might be something in layer properties that
I'll, I'll say this. I'm doing okay. Okay. The vicinity map. For some reason, it has lines. For some reason, it's the only one that has lines.
okay. Well,
Vicinity map.
go ahead and send it to me. Just send me the DWG file, and I'll take a look at it. It may be draw order. It's too hard to tell online. So the best thing is send me the file. It could be draw order. It could be layer properties. There could be some other things. I'll take a look at it, and then I'll send it back to you with comments.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see. Larry says 3D Civil a nightmare. You must be playing with Civil 3D. Yeah, it can be.
No, just the classroom. I had to
Oh,
drop that class.
okay. Gotcha. All right.
I do
Well,
have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I tried to experiment on this other how to get them right, return them to you. That didn't work. So here's my other thought. It is you have one. Okay, for the final project. I have one file called final project. I draw everything in that model space, and I'm going to have 6 D sheets on the bottom, and I put everything in the appropriate D sheet.
Yes.
And that'll give you one PDF with all D sheets in it.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, well, I got it. Okay. Thank you.
Good job. You're welcome. Let me look at the chat box here first. James is asking. James Meeks asking which lines are not showing. Yeah, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to. It
It almost sounds like his viewport's messing up.
It's either the viewport. Sometimes you have a viewport on top of a viewport. It can be the hatching and draw order. It can be something in properties. That's why I'm just going to have them send it to me and I'll take a look.
Here we go.
So it goes back to the same thing. It's very difficult online to actually put your hands on it because
In class, we just can raise our hands and you can come over and look at our computer.
yeah, and that's what I was just going to say. I can walk over and put my hand on the mouse and figure out what's going on. And that's what I'm going to do when I get that file. So yeah, it can be a bunch of things. Let's see, Javier says arc lines, line dimensions, lines, circles, lines, including the leader lines. Okay, so yeah, I'll take a look at it, Javier, when you get it. James Begin says, how do you match properties again? It's an icon on the ribbon. It is in the properties panel, and there's a thing that says match properties. It looks like a paintbrush. Hopefully that helps. Okay, you got that. Iman says maybe the line is frozen or light. Yeah, Iman, you're right. There can be a whole bunch of variables. That's why I want to take a look at it and see. So, all right, we're at 3:23. Any other questions before I take a look at emails and bail out of here? Bail away. Javier says, thank you for the help. I have a class coming up. Okay, yep, Javier, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll take a look at it and send you back comments, see if I can figure it out. All right. All right, you all, everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you for your patience and your attention. You guys are great. I really enjoy it. I'll stop the recording and see you all tomorrow. I'll try to stop the recording.